Hello, everybody. This is Nathan Driscoll, and today I'm going to talk about how addiction and career concerns are causing problems, especially for the youth of our country right now. As I treat internet addiction with clients who are basically 18 to 23 on average, I have found most of them have career concerns and do not want to know what they want to do for their future. And today I want to talk about why this is the case and kind of some reasons that if you're a parent, if you're a therapist, a doctor, some reasons why this is true and what you can kind of do to help these people, to help these teenagers to kind of get on track with their lives and try to figure out what they want for their careers. I've been working with children, especially teenagers, for about 5.5 years. And as most of my clientele is basically 16 to 24, and I found most of them with severe gaming addictions have no idea what they want for their future. A lot of them play games as an escape mechanism. They play these games because they enjoy them, for one, and it's challenging and it's fun, but also so they don't have to face reality. I have found many of them have no idea what they want for their future. They're very frightened and afraid because they do not understand the world, and they're afraid they're not going to do well in it. And today we're going to break this down into a few points. One of the first points we're going to break into is general fear of the future. This world is a scary place right now, especially within the past couple months. With the terrorist attacks in Paris, with now just a couple days ago, these shootings in California. Seems like there's a mass shooting almost every day now. Now that ISIS is everywhere, it seems, and now we have terrorism everywhere. People don't want to face that. People are afraid, and they don't want to deal with it. And when you don't want to deal with a problem, you find a way to distract yourself from it. This is a simple defense mechanism. Freud basically invented these concepts of defense mechanisms, and that when something is psychologically difficult or damaging to deal with, you distract yourself, you hide yourself, you find ways not to deal with it because you don't want to deal with the damage. And while defense mechanisms at times can be healthy, if you stop living life because of them, they're no longer defense mechanisms. They're now dangerous and damaging, and they can easily turn into addictions. And now with the world being so uncertain as it is, a lot of our youth don't know what they want to do and don't even know if they'll succeed or survive. A lot of them tell me that, even if I get a job, doesn't mean I'm going to do well, doesn't mean I'm going to succeed. They tell me, who's to say I'm going to like the job? Who's to say that, I'm going to even get hired with anybody? And a lot of times they want to turn toward an activity that they find comforting and also in ways that they can monetize. So basically, a lot of these students, they feel that if I get into gaming addictions, for example, then I can make money with them and I don't have to find a real job. Then I'll be successful. I'm on my own terms. I'm doing what I want to do. And with that, hey, I don't have to go to college. I don't have to get a real job. I don't have to do any of that. So I'll stick myself in a game. I'll convince myself I can make money with it. And then I'll do that all my life, the rest of my life. Which one of the things they don't understand is, for example, sticking your head in the game and making money off of it is a very difficult process. Most gamers who do this do not make enough money to survive or even close to survive. But yet, they do this so they don't have to find a real job. Most of my clients either have tried college and dropped out or refused to go, and it's not because of intelligence. Most of these clients, most of my students, very smart. These are smart people that, in the very least, are as smart as your average person. And a lot of these students are very afraid because they don't think they'll enjoy what they want to do, and they really have no idea. What they want to do, I want to play games. Now, this is not just behavioral addictions like internet addiction or gaming addiction. I've had people with chemical addictions too tell me, I don't know what I want to do for my future. I don't know what I want. And with that, they're very uncertain and they're scared. Most of them, they literally tell me, I'm very, very scared and I do not know what to do. And they don't want to deal with those feelings. They don't want to deal with that fact. They want to hide, they want to run because hiding is easy. And what the easiest thing to do is to hide into an addiction. And this is the main issue. Not to say that this behavior, this feeling of fear of the future is the main driving force for addiction, but it is one of them that I'm noticing. Another driving force I notice is extreme social anxiety, but that's for a different time. Today, I mostly want to talk about how fear of the future is leading to addiction. And this is a severe, severe fear. Most of my clients, They don't want to go to college because they compare it to high school. Well, high school, I didn't have many friends. High school, I was bullied. High school, I didn't like. So college will be the same way. And a lot of them don't understand that college is often different. I myself was bullied at some points in my schooling career. I myself understand how bullying is. I went through it, and I counsel a lot of people with that. And I myself, when I went into college, I wasn't bullied. I didn't have any issues. See, the thing about college that people don't understand, if you don't get yourself known, if you don't mingle with other people, if you don't interact with other people, you're basically ignored. People don't even know you exist. If you sit in the back of the classroom, don't talk to anyone, don't raise your hand, nobody knows you exist, and nobody cares. And while this is appealing for some of my patients, especially with social anxiety, because they don't want to exist, this also is a fear of, well, if I go to high school, people will just make fun of me, people will tease me, and that's really very, very rare that happens. It does happen. Not saying it doesn't, but it's not nearly like high school. So a lot of them are afraid to go to college. In this day and age, if you don't go to college, especially from what their parents are telling them, if you don't go to college, you will be a failure. And to be honest, there's a lot of truth to that statement. I remember hearing a year or two ago, some McDonald's in some place wanted bachelor degrees with people to run the cash register. And that's insane. That's crazy. I mean, you don't need a bachelor degree to run a cash register. But it's just they had so many college dropouts and college people in the region, they wanted to filter out the possible applicants, so they used college degree as a filter. And this is not a common thing that happens often, but the more and more people that go to college, the more people with degrees, the less value these degrees have. So, for example, if everyone has a bachelor's degree, what's the point of having one? The bachelor degree means nothing in the end. It's like a high school diploma. Well, everyone's got one of those, right? So if I have a bachelor's degree and I need some other way to filter, how do I filter applicants? Maybe now require a master's degree. Then once everyone has a master's degree, maybe require a doctoral degree. And this is the problem with mass education. The value of degrees is almost worthless now. And yet the cost of college is so high. I think the average now is $100,000 for a child to go to college. And that's probably just the tuition. And that's insanity. Because most of these kids that go to school, they're going to find jobs that they're never really going to be able to pay back the loans. And they know this. They think it's a scam. They know, like, well, why go to college if I'm screwed anyway? Why waste all that money? But then again, you're not going to get a really good job on the whole. Well, actually, they see that's a lie. There's trade schools that offer a lot less money, a lot quicker time, and you can make a lot more money with your average trade school than college. A plumber, an electrician, a master carpenter, especially let's take an electrician. They make good money. But see, that's hard work, you see, though. These trade schools are physical work. And a lot of my clients, they don't want to do physical work. They want to sit down and they want to be comfortable and they want to type. They want to press buttons. And the high-end technical jobs, especially in computer science, and that can allow you to make lots of money. You need degrees for that. And there's lots of competition. See, that's a lot of things people don't want these days. They don't want competition. Sorry to tell you, the career force is highly competitive. There's a lot of political correctness now everywhere. We can't offend people. We can't do anything like this. But in the career world, it is cutthroat. There's no such thing as political correctness and then finding a job and getting a job and really doing well moving up through a company. It's if you don't do the job, you're canned and you're fired. This is how most companies operate. And a lot of my clients have fear in this. Like, what if I'm not good enough? I'll get fired. Then I'll be homeless. I'll be on the street. And I'm just afraid. But the thing they don't realize is that's what everyone has. That's the fears everyone has. You could be 50 years old working in a job, and that's a very, very strong fear, especially the older you get. Because, heck, it's age discrimination now. We want younger people. So don't older generations have this fear too? Of course they do. But the younger generation has not decided to deal with their fear, and they use it as an excuse. It might sound harsh, and it is. But I'm noticing a lot of my clients, a lot of my addicts, are using the fear of the future as an excuse not to find work, not to go to college, not to do well, because they want things on their own terms. Because they've been raised that this world is theirs, they can take it, and they don't have to earn it. Oof, that sounds harsh, doesn't it? It is. Most of my own clients like, yeah, but why do I have to work so hard? I had a client just this week tell me, well, I work $11 an hour. I work real hard, but it's not worth it. I got to climb on things. I mean, I should make 15 or $20 an hour. And I'm thinking, why? Why should you make that? I mean, that's what the price of the market dictates. So why should you make more? You have ladders, you got safety equipment. I mean, there's no such thing as a safe job. And yet, because it's physical labor, you think you should make 15 or $20 an hour. That's not how the world works. It's everything has a price. And the jobs that are more physical are often lower priced because there's more people to do it. A doctor, for example, is a rare profession. Most people don't become doctors. And we actually have a doctor shortage in this country. And a lot of doctors don't want to be doctors because of the paperwork and hassle. So it's a rare profession. So you would think a rare profession, you're going to get paid more because you're worth more. Well, I'm sorry, somebody working at McDonald's does not deserve $15 an hour because it's saturated. That's a $7, $8, $9 an hour profession. It's not a $15 an hour profession. It's not. When I graduated with a master's degree, I was making $15.88 an hour after graduate school. After 9 to 10 years of school, I was making 15.88 an hour. I was undervalued, obviously, but still, why should a hamburger flipper make almost as much as I did with a master's degree? It's because of value. My profession is not valued very much because most people don't use therapists. It's a very rare thing. And yet my profession's oversaturated too. There's tons of therapists with no work because it's oversaturated because graduate programs tell us, oh, you'll find jobs. You really won't unless you really bust your butt. But isn't that the same way in almost any field? If you don't bust your butt, if you don't network, if you don't make contacts, you don't do well in any profession now. But young people, they want to hand it to them. My clients want a nice, handy job handed to them where they can work 6 or 7 hours a day in a cushy environment and make lots of money. Because that's what they see. That's what they see as success. And they think, I can have this now. They don't get, that's maybe 10 or 15 years from now. I can't wait that long. I mean, what am I supposed to do? You're supposed to work. I don't want to work. I want to play a game. So what is this? Laziness and entitlement. Sorry, this is just reality. This is what I see. And it's not that my clients are bad people. They're average teenagers. Average teenagers who are addicted to games or chemicals. And they really, truly don't want to work. They want to hand it. Because this is what they see. This is what they see in all their network programs and TV and radio. This is what they see in their social media. That's what they see as cool and hip. To sit back and let the money roll in. Well, that's not how the real world works. To really do well, you have to work and sacrifice for years, and they don't want to do it. So they jump into an addiction to escape because they know they need to, but they don't want to. Most of my clients come kicking and screaming into job or school. Most of them, sometimes it takes 6 months to convince them to go get a job or school. Now, a lot of them, I do convince them. I tell them after a while, through therapy, they start to realize, I can't avoid this, can I? I can't avoid these fears. I can't avoid this. And I say, no, you can't. This is reality, and the more you run from it, the worse it'll get. And by the way, what are you going to do when your parents finally kick you out? See, they don't want to hear that. And I actually tell the parents, if your child's not going to produce, if they're not going to do well, they need to be kicked out so they're forced to produce so they're not ruined for the rest of their life. Now, that's a final step. Obviously, that's a step that I never want to get to, but I have gotten to, and some of my clients have become homeless. And a lot of them, I don't know what happened to them, but that's because of their choice. They were given multiple, I mean, 6 months, a year, 2 years of get better work, and they didn't want to do it. And after a while, then you know what? You need to support yourself then. You need to see just how hard the real world is, and living at home and working somewhere 8 hours a day is not a hard life. Working 6, 7 hours a day, going to school is not a hard life if you compare it to being on the street. And a lot of clients say they don't think this will happen. My parents will never do that. My parents will never kick me out. They'll never do that. And I advise them, well, then you better consider it, because my therapy is family therapy. And I tell them right with the parents are in the room, I say, you need to consider kicking him out if he doesn't change. And the reason I have this mentality is this is almost what happened to me. I was a gaming addict. During my adolescence, during my late teenage or young adult years, I was an addict who played games 6 hours a day. And one day when I was about to go to college, and on probation, by the way, because my grades were terrible, Mom looked at me and said, if you do not make A's and B's, I'm kicking you on the street. And my dad had just divorced my mom, so he wasn't in the picture, and he would never have took me in, which meant I would have been homeless. I would have been done. I would have been under a bridge, and she said, I'll change the locks. I'll kick you out and I'll never let you live here again, and you'll be on your own the rest of your life. I knew she was serious. And that's when I realized, oh boy, I need to go to school and do well. I need to go to school, I need to make A's and B's. And I did. I made honor roll that semester. And you know what? My mom never had that talk with me again because she didn't need to. But I've been in this boat. I understand because I was afraid of my future too. To be honest, I didn't think I could survive and succeed. I thought I was a loser. I thought I was a failure. I didn't think I was smart enough. I didn't think I had the self-control to do well. Well, I had to get over that real darn quick. And most of my clients have very low self-esteem and they don't think they can handle it. A lot of them have went off to college and completely failed. They come home and they're miserable. They're like, what have I done? I don't know how to succeed. All I do is play games all day because their parents have been the ones to control their behavior. Their parents have been the ones to regulate and say, you need to go to school, you need to do your homework. So when they're on their own, they have no sense of self-regulation. So they play games 12, 14 hours a day because, yeah, I can. And they don't realize the consequence because usually there isn't any. And this is the problem. There has to be a consequence to actions. So when I give therapy, I highlight consequences because the real world is full of them. I don't pamper, I don't baby, and if you have a child in this position, you can't either. Didn't work. If my mom would have pampered and babied me, I would have never became a therapist, and all the hundreds of people I've already helped wouldn't have gotten help, and I do not want to know where some of these people would be. And my mom is the reason for that, because she kicked my butt. Now, this is tough love, and I'm going to highlight the word love. It takes a lot of love for a parent to do this. This is not cruelty. This is not mean. And I highlight these. I highlight, like, do you realize just how hard it is for your parent, your mom, your dad, to consider kicking you on the street? Knowing that they're going to have that anxiety of where's my child? Is my child safe every single day? That they're going to sacrifice the security for your future. Do you understand? And they don't. Now, after a while, some of them start to. Most of them don't have to get kicked out. Most of them change, but I've had to. Some of them had to. Most of them start to see, okay, you know what? I don't have a choice, do I? Like, no. And then we really get into why they're so afraid of the future. And a lot of times is they have low self-esteem and don't think they can make it. And the problem is most of them have no reasons for the low self-esteem. Most of them are very smart, very capable. Yes, they have social anxieties. Yes, they have social issues. But these can be trained. These can be taught. This can be improved. But they're scared. And when you're scared, you're not thinking completely rational. This is the main problem. So if you have a child who is not doing well, who is an addict to something, ask yourself, are they afraid of the future? And have this talk with them. Say, look, are you afraid of the future? Are you afraid of doing well? Are you afraid of what's going to happen in your life? And really have this talk. And with no condemnation, no yelling, no screaming, just say, are you scared? And if they say, yes, I am, they say, okay, that's okay. It is okay to be scared. Actually, in truth, aren't we all? I'll be honest, I'm scared for mine. I'm a therapist, and as a therapist, it's not an in-demand profession. People come to me on their will. If no clients come to me, I starve to death. No clients come to me, I have to find employment somewhere. If no clients come, I don't know how I support my family. And sometimes in my profession, it's ups and downs. And sometimes there's down periods where I don't know how I'm going to make enough money to live. Am I scared sometimes? Yes. Do I go quit, hide into an addiction? No, because that's not helpful. Do I want to sometimes? Yes, I do. I want to jump into a game some days and just play 10 hours a day because I'm still an addict, guys. I'm still an addict. I want to jump into that game sometimes because, oh my God, what if I lose 2 clients? If I lose 2 clients, that's, oh my gosh, how am I going to eat? This is the world I live in. But isn't this the world we all live in? Everyone who has a job, even if you're self-employed, clients can dry up. Or if you're not, you can get fired, right? Don't we all live in this fear? The question is what you do with it. A lot of my young clients, they do not know what to do with it, so they jump into an addiction. And by the way, it doesn't just mean young people can do this. Old people do this too. People in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, they can jump, and when I say old people, I didn't mean discourage you later. I mean older generations of people. They can jump into addictions. Why do you think a lot of people are addicted? Fear. It may not just be the future, but it's fear in general. I'm fearful for my family. I'm fearful for my health. I'm fearful for maybe whatever the reason is, especially these days. I'm fearful for being killed in a terrorist attack. Unfortunately, we have that fear now too, don't we? Yep. So we can either live in fear and let it control us and sit and cower, and then do we ever get through that? Do we ever survive? Do we ever prosper? No. If we sit, we're not living. If we're engaged in fear and we're afraid, we're not living. You can be afraid, but don't stop your life. And that's what a lot of my clients are doing. And this is, when I have therapy, this is one of the main issues I deal with. When I have someone who's a 17-year-old who's about to graduate from high school, who tells me, I don't want to know what I want to do for my future, I'm scared, this is what I deal with as a main focus in therapy. Because if I deal with this fear, what other reasons are there for the addiction to be? So if they got social anxiety and fear and I deal with these and the addiction doesn't have a stronghold anymore, then it can start to lift. See, this is how treating addictions work. You don't treat the addiction by itself. You treat everything else that's influencing it. And this is the problem with a lot of treatment centers. They focus on just the addiction because they don't know how to treat anything else. When I treat addictions, it's maybe 25% of the time. 75% of the time is everything else. And to be honest, that's what's important. Because I've noticed if the addiction does not have the reasons for its existence, it fades naturally. This is how you treat addiction. And this is a very important point. So if you got a teenage son, a teenage daughter, and they're scared of the future, ask yourselves, is this career concerns? Talk to them. If they're addicts and they're addicted to something, ask yourself, are they afraid of the future? Have these conversations, have this talk, because this is very important. This may be some of the reasons why they're doing what they're doing, because they're scared and they don't know how to deal with it. And if you open up a dialogue, then maybe you'll get some answers. One of the things I want to say is if you've determined that your child does have an addiction, a trained therapist dealing with addictions is probably a very good idea. And if you're in the Houston area, you can see me. I deal with all kinds of addictions. If not, I want you to find a qualified therapist. And to do that, you can go to Psychology Today. That is a very good resource for finding a therapist and even a psychiatrist, by the way. You can go in there, you can search your city, and you can see therapists, psychiatrists, and you can see what they specialize in, what their rates are, their insurances. It's a very, very good resource. So if you feel that your child or even you need a therapist, this is a good resource. And again, if you're in the Houston area, you can see me. I treat internet addiction, gaming addiction. I treat social media addiction. And if you feel that you need help in this, I can help you. But if not, please find a qualified therapist in your area, because a therapist can very much help you, especially if you're having career concerns. Career counseling is something that almost every therapist is trained in, by the way. We are given classes on it in graduate school. Career counseling is very important. I teach clients myself how to construct resumes, how to do job interviews. And a lot of my clients I do this with because they're very, very scared. Like, I've never been in an interview. I mean, they don't know. So I role play these things with them. And with that, they gain confidence. And I have them dress up. I do all these things with them. And there they can start to feel the confidence needed to do well at school, to do well in a job. Because confidence is very important. If you don't feel like you're a success, you won't be. And this is a very important point. So if this is you, if this is a child or someone you know that has career concerns who are also addicts, open a dialogue with them. Talk to them about this. Talk to them about their fears or concerns, because if you don't talk about it, will anything ever change? The problem is most parents do not talk much with their children because their child's stuck in a room on a computer or a social media device, and there's no communication. Stop and communicate. Ask these questions. And don't ask judgmentally. Don't ask with exasperation or annoyance. Ask them, are you scared of the future? Is this possibly why you put your head in the game all day, or why you're using a chemical like marijuana or something? Is an escape. And over time, they might actually open up a dialogue with you. But guys, this isn't truth. This is why you need to learn how to speak to your children at a very young age. So there's dialogues at this point, so you don't have to start building a relationship over from scratch. So again, if you feel you or someone you know has addiction issues and they are having problems finding a career or getting into a career, or they're just afraid of the future themselves, talk to them. If you have any questions, you can visit my website, www.nathandriscoll.com. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach me there. If you just want some general information, you can email me, and I can talk to you. I can help you in anything that you need. But today, guys, it was a pleasure talking with everyone. And if you have any questions, just let me know. In 2 weeks, I'm going to have another online seminar on a different topic. And guys, thank you for everything and have a good day.